I'm so excited to have him back, and I know you guys are. So without further ado, Prabhu.
Om Agyantam Randasya Jananjana Shakya Chaksham Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha Shrititanya Manobhishtam Stapitanya Bhutale Swayam Bhagaramaya Nirati Stavaradiyam. Thanks. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Radha Shri Sadguru Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
So I was told to keep it simple because there's new people here. I saw you all, I think almost everybody here last year. But that's cool. We all need the basics. So that's what, but I can go into, hopefully, by Krishna's mercy, somehow magically, more than just basics, hopefully. So we're going to go into, if anybody wants to follow, 4.3.23, Srimad Bhagavatam, 4.3.23. So, 4.3.23. And, I was just reading, I read Bhagavatam, and this is where I was at, and I thought this would be appropriate for what I was suggested to talk about. So, Shiva is instructing his dear wife Sati about, that Daksha just cursed, Daksha just had a fit because Shiva didn't stand up when Daksha entered the assembly. Daksha is Sati's father. There we go. Sorry. I haven't spoken other than just distributing books for about 8 months. I haven't seen devotees in such a long time. I'm in the mountains distributing books. And so I find my brain probably not working so good, but I'll do the best I can. So, Sati's father. And, you'd think the son-in-law would give the father some respect, but Shiva's most exalted. He's the greatest of the Vaishnavas. And so Daksha has a fit and makes some offenses. And then they have another sacrifice performances, and his father didn't invite them to that, but he invited everybody else. So Sati is seeing these airplanes flying to the sacrifice and hearing them talk about, it's going to be such a nice yagya with Daksha. He's like, what? She wants to go. I want to go because she wants to, be with her sisters and so forth and have a good time, And so she very tactfully asks her husband, Shiva, great one, blue-throated one, you're so merciful. You swallowed the ocean of poison, That's why he's got the blue throat there. And, pointing that out, he's so merciful. And if it's so your desire, maybe we can go together and so forth. And she was pointing out that this is not a good idea. Because if you hear the insult from a relative, it can be worse than death. And Sati's really flipping out. And Shiva gives some really cool statement here. Pointing out that Daksha didn't really understand, and he can't understand because she was so exalted. And so she was giving a hint as to his consciousness here in this verse. And it goes as follows. Let's read the Sanskrit. Sattvam Vashuram Vasudam Vasudeva Sattitam Yate Tatra Pumana Bhagavataha Sattvecha Tasmin Bhagavan Vasudeva Hi Aloksha Jome Namasa Vidyate I am always engaged in offering obeisances to Lord Vasudeva, it's another name for Krishna, and pure Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is always pure consciousness, in which the Supreme Personality of Godhead, known as Vasudeva, is revealed without any covering. So suggested that maybe I could talk about why, Hare Krishna. It's nice to see you all again. Nice smiling faces. So, why become Krishna conscious? Why endeavor to become Krishna conscious? The word for Sanskrit, the word for culture in Sanskrit is Sanskritam, which means, because people talk about culture, I like culture. My brother likes culture. He likes to go to India, maybe with me to see culture. But what is culture? Culture is, according to the Vedas, is culture for the purpose of purification so that we can re-enter the kingdom of God. That's what culture is. So culture is not like football culture, and all these things, people consider culture, it's not really culture. And but it's for the purpose of purification so we can re-enter the kingdom of God. So we already are pure. We're pure spirit. We have nothing. I remember having this thought. I was visiting a siddha, and I thought, it was the first time I kind of met somebody super exalted, I guess. It probably was a real siddha. And because I had this experience, I remember thinking, while I was waiting in line to have darshan, I was thinking, maybe I'm really evil inside. I mean, that's the core of me. I'm just somebody really evil. Oh no. And then I was in this, this consciousness of just, oh no, kind of flipping out while I was waiting in line. Maybe I should run. And there was a thing that's to hold people in line with together, and there's little poles there, and there's a shiny thing on the bottom, of each pole. And I just looked into the shiny thing, and I saw myself, like my real self, and went, that's exactly what I want to be, what I always wanted to be, or all that I want to be. It was like perfect. And I remember looking up and looking at all the people, and they were all as they were, and it was just like flipping out. They were not normal human beings. And then that kind of went away. Very amazing personality this was. And so the real self is totally pure. It's not, we're not, it's like a pure raindrop falling out of the sky. It's pure. It comes from the clouds, evaporates. And it hits the ground, it gets muddy. So we get contaminated consciousness when we enter into this material dimension, unless we're like a real, avatar or something like that, indirect Shakti Vesh avatar, where you don't fall down like Jesus or whoever. And so being, as Prabhupada says, we've been in this material dimension crores of lifetimes. A crore is 10 million births. So that's at least 20 million births with contaminated consciousness of all different varieties. But we've got this human form. So the pure state of consciousness is one point is the Krishna conscious state. And all other states are just like, remember having this dream, I have these dreams that aren't kind of dreams. Sometimes they ever have those things. It's just, obviously, this is something significant. I remember being in kind of like the spiritual world and just going, wee-ha. And then this contamination in my heart, just a very subtle contamination, just went, well, nice to be God, or whatever, something like that. I mean, just it's so subtle. And then all of a sudden it turned into World War II with Nazi Germany, with tanks and people shooting each other everywhere, and just people being annihilated, and just hatred and awful stuff. I remember going, I don't want this. And it went back into the beautiful, it was just a shift, just the slightest little subtle desire. What a shift, just of consciousness, Krishna consciousness or me consciousness. And I'm going to be Krishna, or whatever it might be, or it might be American conscious, like Russian conscious. They captured some Ukrainians, and if they didn't sing the Russian national anthem, they would torture them. So this is their way of, promoting Russian consciousness or whatever. I'm sure, not to pick on Russians, but was there, and whatever conscious. It's all the other conscious states other than Krishna conscious is contaminated consciousness, and this contamination consciousness leads to suffering, because it's like if you want to have, even if you just don't look at it as the word suffering, you just look at it as not experiencing our fullness, our full potential. Like literally, I've been probably dreaming of cheesecake for a year now. About a year. And I think, okay, I'm gonna have this cheesecake, but let's say I put like some saran wrap over my mouth and my tongue, so I can't really taste it. I can just taste part of it, barely a little bit of it. It's like, So why become Krishna conscious? Because we're in this contaminated consciousness and we're not experiencing the eternal reality to its full potential. So human life being related to Sanskritam is for the purpose of taking time to purify the consciousness. Not just time to purify the consciousness. The beautiful thing about pure Vedic India, which you can find maybe in some places perhaps, is it's only about purifying that consciousness. That's it. And so by doing that, it's like taking off those layers of saran wrap so you can experience the cheesecake. I remember, I don't know, I have these times every now and then, full moon or whatever it is, where I just can't stop chanting, and I chant all night long. And I'm thinking I'm going to fall asleep at the table tomorrow, so I registered the book. And so maybe I take an hour. It's all I can do. It's just so ecstatic. And then the next day, I remember having my regular bowl of cereal, I get from Bliss Organics, Pure Bliss Organics, and devotees make it in Atlanta, and just tasting the cereal. If someone were watching me, I don't know what they would think, but I couldn't eat it. It was so ecstatic. It was so ecstatic. It was like, I can't handle this. I was like so ecstatic. Just a little bit of, purification of consciousness, and some of those saran wrap layers going away, and experiencing reality is so beyond profound. So rather than, as Prabhu says, chewing the chewed, do the same old material thing and try to get some pleasure out of it. Buddy Narayan Swami gave this nice talk about these turtles that when they get on Earth, on land, like once a year, they try to get to a certain area. And he said, if there's a rock there, they'll just hit it, back up and hit it, back up and hit it. They won't go around. And they just keep doing that. Eventually the rock, I guess, moves. So that kind of mentality of just material pursuits, this will be better this time, and it never is. And it's like chewing the chewed, as Prabhupada says. Rather than that way, that's more like the turtle consciousness. The human consciousness would be, let's take advantage of this knowledge, apply it. Let's apply pure culture. Let's live in the pure Vedic culture of Sanskritam, of purification, and then experience that eternal reality. Just like, everybody feels better after the kirtan, right? It's like, wow, I just feel more awake and more alive and more able to access that dimension. It's like Krishna, just like touching a elephant, let's say, and the elephant starts screaming in ecstasy, chanting Hare Krishna in ecstasy. Just by the little this Krishna goes like that to the elephant. Just like goes nuts. Right? Imagine being in that state all the time, how ecstatic that would be. And those are those people who have really applied this, are experiencing more and more and more every day. So that's where it's at. We don't need to change our wife or our kids or leave our ashram or get a new job or have a new car or whatever. We just need to do this, hearing and chanting, more and more and more, and we experience the eternal reality. So, considering all of that, I'll read this verse. I am always engaged in offering obeisances to Lord Vasudeva, in pure Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is always pure consciousness, in which the Supreme Personality of Godhead, known as Vasudeva, is revealed without any covering. So to experience, to be like that, for me, I'll use the word elephant, because I think I've lived my life like an elephant, dull and eat a lot, and try to have a big body is what I used to do, all that stuff. So, to experience that ecstasy of Krishna consciousness, where the veil is removed, and experience that touch of Krishna, whether it be his glance, his touch, whatever, vision, and handle it, is beyond ecstatic. Purport. The living entity is constitutionally pure. Sangohi ayam purusha. In the Vedic literature, it is said that the soul is always pure and uncontaminated by material attachment. We are not ever in contact with this material dimension. We're not. The pure soul, who we really are, is never in contact with this material dimension. The identification of the body with the soul is due to misunderstanding. As soon as one is fully Krishna conscious, it is to be understood that one is in his pure original constitutional position. This state of existence is called Shuddha Sattva, which means that it is transcendental to the material qualities. Since this Shuddha Sattva existence is under the direct action of the internal potency, in this state the activities of material consciousness stop. For example, when iron is put into a fire, it becomes warm, and when red hot, although it is iron, it acts like fire. Similarly, when copper is surcharged with electricity, it acts as copper. Its actions of copper stop. It acts as electricity. Bhagavad Gita 14:26 also confirms that anyone who engages in unadulterated devotional service to the Lord is at once elevated to the position of pure Brahman. Bhagavad Gita 14:26. Anybody know it? Mam One engages in my pure devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the level at once transcends the modes of material nature, and thus comes the level of Brahman. So Brahman meaning spirit. So, and there's another verse right around there. It says, being free from the what is pure devotional service? Being free from the contaminations of mental speculation and fruitive activity. So this mental speculation, my father, what a character, amazing being, actually graduated from MIT, just always this calculate, always in his head calculating. When he drive me to school or whatever, sometimes he'd be calculating how far digit can he get by calculating in his head the number pi. It'd be like up to 12, I'm trying to get 13, new record for me, 13. And so, interesting person. So, this mental speculation, it does not serve us. It's just like having all these thoughts, and just different colors, and you just kind of throw them on a painting. Yeah, wow. Yeah, but it doesn't do anything. So it's whatever you can spin in here is material. It's mental speculation. Maybe Krishna's like this, maybe he's like that. I mean, that's better than any other mental speculation, but it still doesn't get you out of your head. I meet people come to my table, got a sign that says meditation yoga books, and they come to my table. No, I gotta get out of my head. Yeah, that's exactly right. We just hang out in this little crane, little box thing here, and just go spin, 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 spin. Doesn't do anything for us, or yourself, or the world. Or that's mental speculation. In fruitive activity, let's take a couple elements. Let's take this, and put it together like that. And nuclear fusion too, yeah. And then we're gonna enjoy. Yeah. This is not working. I mean, good old Henry Ford, nice guy and all, but wonderful great grandson, Breach Ford. Yeah, but has it really helped us enjoy more? I was just driving over here from Phoenix, distributed books ASU, and just going. Just coming down from Mount Rushmore for 6 months, just going, God, this world's a trip. All these people going mad in cars here and there, trying to enjoy. But are they? It stinks. This diesel fume and that. All this noise and all this work, all this energy output. It costs money to pump gas and fix these cars. Oh, yeah. Before, people would just walk to the field and walk to the market or get on a horse. Is it that? Have we really done better? That's just one simple example. So this fruitive activity just seems a little, obviously thinking about it just won't really make us happy since we're spirit and not this body. So this contamination of consciousness is acting on contamination of consciousness where I can enjoy through my body, materially, is not going to make us happy or actually create suffering. And we miss out on experiencing that eternal reality. Eternal reality is our nature's blissful, full of knowledge and eternal. And what do we experience other than when we contaminate our consciousness? We don't choose not to be Krishna conscious. We get bliss, eternal, and full of knowledge. That's the real nature. So we get ignorant, we experience temporality, and we experience suffering. It's just the opposite. Perverted reflection. So, And let's see here. Got a couple. Oh, yeah. Okay, I'll just read a little bit more. So this under all circumstances, what is it? One engages in my pure devotional service under all circumstances. So there's another verse in the Bhagavad Gita that describes abandoning all material desires without exception. That's a big statement. Here I go hike this. I do my Japa hike, climb this mountain every day up Mount Rushmore. And since a kid, I always wanted to climb Mount Everest. And I'm about 60, My chances of climbing Everest, and this material desire starts kicking in. I try to dovetail it in Krishna consciousness. Well, let me put a plaque up there that says something about Krishna's, the Himalayas, or whatever. Or it just starts spinning, and I'm like, look, I really try. I put in good effort to make it somehow Krishna, but I realized this is something you got to abandon. You can't really dovetail this really practically in Krishna consciousness. So you got to get rid of it. Like, ow, Just like this guy I met on Mount Rushmore. He's from New York City. He's poor. He finally saved up enough money. He always wanted to go to Mount Rushmore when he was a kid. I don't know. And so he drove all the way. He had some time off. Drove all the way to Mount Rushmore to see Mount Rushmore. From New York City. Just had enough money to do it. And that day, the clouds covered Mount Rushmore. He was like so bummed out. So this is what Krishna has to disappoint you in your material pursuits. He has to. Imagine if he didn't. It'd be like, why should I go to the spiritual world? It's all good here, So I'm having a great time. But no, he has to. That's love. He loves us so much that he will ruin your material. And I can just imagine that. You see pictures of Mount Everest, and there's some pictures of a leg, just a leg, and an arm over there. It's like, God. So, I mean, anything could happen, and then no more books would go out, at least for maybe once you get into the body. So, it's not worth it. Abandon under all circumstances. It's such a nice statement. Prabhupada's so merciful that he doesn't translate it another way, it's okay if you abandon without exception all material desires. Whoa. And he gives us the six Goswamis, literature and their examples. These are perfected beings coming down and being perfect, right? So you got to go for that. And that's what brings you real happiness. It's so wonderful that Prabhupada gave it as it is. So we have that tuning fork to shoot for and to go for. And that brings us real happiness. So the pure state, any contamination of consciousness won't do it for you. In pure devotional service, one simply serves the Supreme Personality God as a matter of duty, without reason and without being impeded by material conditions. That is called Shuddha Sattva or Vasudeva. Because in that stage, the Supreme Person Krishna is revealed in the heart of the devotee. Srila Jiva Goswami has very nicely described this Vasudeva or Shuddha Sattva in his Bhagavad Sandarbha. He explains that Astutatara Satta 108 is added to the name of the spiritual master to indicate one who is situated in Shuddha Sattva. Do you know that? I didn't know that.
Astutatara 108.
Yeah, that's what it means. Yeah, I've read this many times, but I just finally got it. Or in the transcendental state of Vasudeva. So that's what that 108 part of Astutatara Satta. The word Vasudeva is also used for other purposes. For example, Vasudeva also means one who is everywhere or all-pervading. The sun is also called Vasudeva Sabditam. The word Vasudeva may be utilized for different purposes, but whatever purpose we adopt, Vasudeva means the all-pervading or localized Supreme Personality Godhead. In Bhagavad Gita, it is also stated, Vasudeva Sarvamati, factual realization is to understand Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality Godhead, surrender unto him. Vasudeva is the ground wherein Vasudeva means the father of Krishna, his name, but one's got a line over the A and one doesn't. Krishna's got the line over it, and is revealed. When one is free from the contamination of material nature and is situated in pure Krishna consciousness or in the Vasudeva state, Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality, is revealed. This state is also called Kaivalya, which means pure consciousness. Jnanam Sattvikam Kaivalyam. When one is situated in pure transcendental knowledge, one is situated in Kaivalya. Therefore, Vasudeva also means Kaivalya, a word which is generally used to impersonalists. And it goes into, of course, impersonalist route is not optimal, and so forth and so on. The action of the internal potency is also described in this verse as apavrita, free from any covering. Because the Supreme Personality Godhead, his name, his form, his quality, his paraphernalia, etc., being transcendental or beyond material nature, it's not possible to understand any one of them with the material senses. When the senses are purified by the discharge of pure devotional service, Rishikena, Rishikesha, Sevanam Bhakti Uchite, the pure senses can see Krishna without any covering. Now one may inquire that since factually the devotee has the same material existential body, how is it possible that the same materialistic eyes become purified by devotional service? The example, as stated by Lord Chaitanya, is that devotional service cleanses the mirror of the mind. In a clear mirror, one can see one's face very distinctly. Similarly, simply by cleansing the mirror of the mind, one can have a clear conception of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that this is the process of this purifying the consciousness, and through hearing and chanting, and sharing Krishna consciousness with others. That's a great way to magnify the hearing and chanting. Taking time out, certain amount of time out for yourself, for your sadhana, for your purification, for your sanskatam, and a certain amount of time out to introduce others and bring others to it as well. Because if we just work on ourselves, well, if we do work on ourselves, what we do is we step outside these boundary walls and we go, my God, people have contaminated consciousness out here. You know, they're just chasing, like, just going with no, as Prabhu says, a society without a brain. It's like somebody cut off the human head and they're just going. And there's no connection. There's no, you have a question?
You're mentioning what you're saying right now. A gentleman on books just the other day, I asked him if he was interested in meditation and yoga, and he said, oh, you know, really, I like to just wander around not knowing where I'm going in life.
Yeah. Remember I was having not a good day here at the U of A at the table. I don't know, it was just one of those days. And I just got all frustrated. And some kid walked by and go, hey man, so what'd you learn from school? I learned that there is no God. And then I shouldn't bring up what I'm about to say. Maybe I'll do that in a private thing. But I asked these two gentlemen, what's the best thing in life? And they both said the same thing at the same time. They looked at each other and said the same thing. But you know, I can't share that. You can imagine what two gentlemen might say. And I was just like, Krishna. And that next day, I gave up book distribution, started my own landscaping business. Yeah. 3 months later, I said, I got to go back to books. I was donating $1,000 to the temple a week. That was good though. So anyway, I had to be productive, you know. It was like I just kind of God. Anyway, it's still possible to distribute books, no problem. Sorry, it's fun. So that's the point. Going back to book distribution, you know, that was just a strange couple days I had. But you know, every day can be blissful, pretty much. Every day is blissful in Sankirtan. But anyway, you can have days like that. But the point is sharing this with others is a wonderful way to go. And it's amazing what happens when you meet people out there and how some of them have had experiences of this covering being removed. I remember just here in Tucson going when I first joined and distributing books at this place, shopping complex. And usually back then wouldn't approach older people. You'd find some young hippie like kid. And this older guy looked cool. So I approached him and he goes, "Ta!" I had a Srimad Bhagavatam on. I'm like, "Ta!" And then he stopped in his tracks like anything. I'm like, uh-oh. And he comes right fast back to me, grabs the book and puts his arm really hard right here, real fast, and looks at me real wide-eyed. I'm like, okay, you know, am I going to have to take this guy out or what's going to happen here? And, you know, some super soul just chill, you know, and so, okay, all right, nothing flared up for me. And then he goes, he points to the shaking kind of, points to Krishna with playing the flute, the peacock feather on there. I got the blue guy with the peacock feather. And his hairs were laying up. My hairs are starting to go up too. And I'm like, whoa, this is cool. And he goes, I got this book called From Back to No Tacker and Jive Dharma. I opened it up and all of a sudden clouds cleared and there's that blue boy right there. He said, come play with me, come play with me. And then the clouds shut and the book was there and I was there. Oh my God, that's him. And he took all the books. I mean, anything can happen at any time, you know, with anybody. Anybody. I remember Hanuman Prasad Swami Maharaj telling me this story, this guy drinking beer up in California somewhere with his buddies. And the guy said, Krishna just showed up. His buddies couldn't see him. And he just and Krishna just said, hey, my name's Krishna, you should check me out. And then split. And so he went to the library, looked up Krishna, got our Krishna book, Extreme Personality Book, read it and moved, you know, just started going to the temple all the time. So there's people, anything can happen anytime where the covering gets completely removed. And people like Prabhupada, that's removed all the time. You know, I mean, wow. I remember going to school, well, starting at U of A, and they wouldn't let me into Stanford because my English was so bad. I was playing too much football or something. And so I went here, and that's cool, but you know. And I remember they had choice of what you want to choose. Okay, engineer, psychologist. And I looked at every one of them, and I went, yuck. I don't want to do any of this. Yuck. I was reading some of the Bible, and I thought, you know, at the time, and I wasn't telling, but I've read enough. I was reading some of it. And I said, these disciples of Christ are having a good time. Let's become a saint. Not that I am one, but saint in Sanskrit is sadhu, which means to cut. Actually, that's the word it means, to cut. And what is it cutting? It's cutting through the illusion. So we can go through this, remove this covering, and see what is beyond, which is Krishna. I said, this is what I'd prefer to do, because at least they're doing something other than this fruit of activity and mental speculation, which is just nothing. It's just like nothing. It's like children's games, you know, like crazy children. It's not even like adult, in my opinion. Sorry. You know, even yogis, you know, doing material pursuits. There's you know, getting smaller, get smaller. People get to go, wow, you're far out. So what? And you get money, let's say. So what are you going to do with the money? You know, I mean, you're still stuck in this, in your head and wherever, in this material dark world. And there's a story of Jayapataka Swami Maharaj gave us really cool. We used to give these, I mean, he always gives cool lectures, but on top of the, whatever it's called on in India, going at the roof and give out these incredible suites also, and he gives these lectures that were so phenomenal. And he describes this one where these yogi, you know, there's one disciple of, I think it was Madhvacharya, I could be wrong. So Madhvacharya's got, or one of these great beings that we can all remember that, I can't remember the name. And he is, he's got his ashram with his students, and one of his students come over, hey, I hear there's a Swami that's levitating over in this place. And he's like, you know, and whoever the great being was, he was, you know, they get those neem leaves and they clean their teeth that way. And he's got this neem stick, and he's like, yeah, don't worry about it. It's nothing. It's like, but no, they say he's like hovering, he's kind of moving around, going all like that, you know, and wow, he's like, it's nothing, don't worry about this. The student kept going with it. So he said, man, he puts a stick underneath his legs and starts flying around the ashram a little bit and comes back and just puts it in. It's nothing, man. Just keep chanting Hare Krishna, chill out, clean the temple floor, do your devotional service, tap into something of value, you know? So this kind of thing is, you know, the great souls know that this is where it's at. This, you know, what she was talking about, seeing Krishna. You just levitate, you learn some subtle material arts, even travel all over, you know, Svargaloka, big deal. So what? It's not going to do anything for you. But getting rid of the covering, that's what fully satiate the soul. So maybe I should stop here for questions. Yes.
Krishna is very kind and likes to reveal himself by removing the covering every now and then in different varieties of ways. And should we keep these moments that we share with Krishna private to ourselves, or should we, in the mood of, you know, inspiring others, we share these stories with others?
That's a great question. I don't know the answer. I used to share some of these things, and it did inspire people. Somewhere along the way, I think I met a Swami or two that said you shouldn't do that. Maybe some of them say you should. I don't know. I don't know what the real answer is, but I've been playing it conservatively and not sharing. Unless there's a unique situation, like, I don't know, it seems totally appropriate to maybe reveal a little bit. I don't know. I really don't know.
Unless you meet you at the bar, but we don't go to the bar. But that's where it's that's the story we're sharing. Like you were talking about with that guy.
Oh, yeah. Right. Well, so yeah, I think maybe you could ask 3 advanced swamis and try to get a consensus. Let me know, because I really would like to know. I mean, if you were to write a book on that kind of stuff, it would blow people's minds. Look, through book distribution, you have these experiences. Maybe a lot of people would take up books. I mean, that would be really cool. I don't know. I'm just playing it cautious because of what some swamis have told me. Before that, I didn't even hold back. Check this out. What? Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. It was so inspiring. It's so nice to have you here. I still don't know what you were asking us if we knew about the light.
Oh.
What was that about the 108 being your name?
Yeah.
And what was that?
It indicates somebody who's in total Shuddha-sattva state, totally purified state of consciousness. Yeah. Yeah, indicates that. Yeah, sorry. Yes.
Hi, Krishna.
All right.
Again, thank you for coming. When you were speaking, I was kind of reflecting. I was kind of like taking things back to I have kids. And I'm like, okay, they're 4 and 5, they're out in the world. They don't, not that they don't know so much, but they're kind of not fully developed. But just sometimes I'm thinking, like, is the Krishna consciousness, like, is it doing anything? Like, bringing them to the temple and talking to them about it? Is it doing anything? Am I not saying enough? And like, I love sharing that. My youngest one day was just like, Mommy, why are we on planet Earth? Like, not even,
Whoa.
why are we here? What are we doing? Just, why are we on this planet?
Wow.
And they do little things like that sometimes, or like their dad is more Buddhist, so sometimes they'll come home and be like, oh, Mommy, Buddha, and this and that. And I would talk to them about, yeah, and here's how it relates to Krishna so much that now they go to Dad and they're like, Dad, Krishna. And it's like, wow. I guess the whole point of that I kind of was reflecting, like, sometimes I guess when we want to talk to someone or share something about Krishna, maybe we're a little hesitant. We're like, we don't want to scare them away or tell them too much. But then, like, I have little people where sometimes I'm just like, they're not scared of death. They love talking about death. I'm like, yeah, you move on to your next body. The soul never dies. And they're just like, and they love it. And it, like, kind of thinking of that where it's like with other people when we share, I mean, maybe we can be a little more like, yeah, you're the soul. You're not this body. Shake them out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely should share like Prabhupada shared. But he was referring more to, like, you know, I was on the subway, subway the other day, and there was Krishna there. And I'm like, okay, hello. And, you know, I mean, I'm just kind of just saying whatever, you know. And so do we share those things? But yeah.
I've had that too. I think I've had that where, like, I've had like senior devotees saying, oh, you don't share those things with your private things, but then I'll have senior godbrothers that are like, oh my God, you'll never guess what happened to me the other day.
Maybe in certain settings it's appropriate. I just don't know the rules. I would like to know. Yeah.
So I read in one of the purports in the Bhagavad Gita that we're kind of just waiting for like a reward from Krishna. But at the same time, like, we have this thing called pious credit, punya, and like the ability to perform devotional service. So like, am I able to just like every time I'm performing devotional service, like, am I guaranteed going to experience some advancement in Krishna consciousness? Or does Krishna, like, just, you know, no matter how much I work, like, he decides, like, what happens to me? Like, he's the one that decides, like, if my pious credit gets used for anything, or if, like, how do I say it? Will Krishna make me a pure devotee? Like, when he'll go, okay, you've been performing devotional service long enough, I will make you a pure. I will remove the covering. Or do I just slowly build up pious credit, and then eventually the covering just I get so much pious credit that it's guaranteed to come off? Like, does it go that way, or do I have to wait for Krishna to be like, okay, this is gonna happen.
I mean, it's Krishna's causeless mercy always there. You know, the Bhagavad Gita says, Bhakti Mamam Janti, Vanachasmi Tarantaram. One can understand me as I am, as the Supreme Personality of God, only by devotional service. And by such devotion, one becomes full in Krishna consciousness. By such devotion, we can enter the kingdom of God, or enter the kingdom of God. So as we perform our devotional service, we become more Krishna conscious. And since the pure state is like a crack addict, addicted to whatever, it's addicted to Krishna, like a crack addict. You know, I have to have Krishna. You know, so as we advance, we become more attached to Krishna. And that just builds to pure love of Krishna. So that's the stages.
So I should be thinking, it's causeless mercy. It has nothing to do with my pious credit. It's like, it's only Krishna's causeless mercy that I'm able to perform devotional service. Like, I did nothing. Like, I'm just
Nothing
very
material can grant you devotional service. Like I built these hospitals, so therefore I get devotional service. No, nothing material can provide. No material piety causes bhakti. That's clear. But all those practices that we are doing, all that we do is just to advance Krishna consciousness and propitiate Krishna's causeless mercy, Krishna's mercy in a sense as well. So, all the things that we're doing is to, keep going with devotional service and be on Krishna's good side with all that, stay on Krishna's good side with that. So he wants to keep bestowing devotional service in our life. Yeah. And he wants you back more than you want to go back. So he's trying to give you the mercy. I don't know if that's better. He probably wants to elaborate on that.
No.
Definitely do.
Just to reflect on that, I just have a question.
I just had another quick question about book distribution.
Let's go with his friend.
Okay.
I was just, I guess I've been thinking a little bit about how to share Krishna and like the art of sharing Krishna, like the subtle art of like how much or how little to say or what to say, or not to just start by saying, the universe come out of the pores of Mahavishnu. I was just wondering, I know you seem to me like a pretty, flow state kind of guy, and you got a lot of experience, so you probably just generally speak different things to people, but I was wondering if there's any like common thing that you can think of like generally how you share something first thing, some little thing about Krishna. Is it just kind of talking generally like the soul and the body, or?
I think the main thing what I'm trying to do is help them connect with themselves and let them be who they really, try to help them get to know who they really are. And Prabhupada said, flatter them like anything. And I'm constantly, I find very helpful just to not overdo it, but genuinely flatter. Like somebody comes to the table, and I have a thing, I have on video what I share, what I say, if you want to have that.
Yeah, I've seen it. It's
Well, I've got one.
Pure magic.
Yeah.
Well, you might not have seen my new one because the other ones are hard to see. So then I just share specifically, without people there, just what I say. So, if that, you might find that helpful. I don't know. Well, at least you'll know what I say. Whether you find it helpful or not, that's another thing. But point of genuine flattery, so that they feel like, oh, I'm liked, I'm appreciated, and these are things to help actualize them being more who they are. And
can you give an example of what that is to help someone find out more who they are, like what they like to do and what they do?
Well, let's just say, my sign says yoga free. I put the free signs up there, free yoga and meditation books. And I just sit there and rarely approach people. So I go to a setup where people are walking by, somebody will come by. And in my video, I say, if you don't flatter a person right off the bat, like a real genuine compliment, not like I'm going to flatter you so I can get money out of you or anything like that. but genuine flatter,
Sure, link to them.
then it's about 40% less of a chance they'll take a book, like right off the bat. So I
If
say,
you flatter them in the beginning.
if I don't, is 40% less of a chance that they'll get a book, roughly. Yeah, that's a big number for just one sentence. So then I'll just say, whatever it is, whatever's genuine coming out of my heart, and genuine, like, hey, you look like the higher conscious, good vibe guy. Yeah. First I say, actually, welcome to the magic table. Just something where they realize this guy is not that I'm cool, but I learned it from another devotee. He said that one. I said, that's cool. And people instantly go, oh, this guy isn't some weird stuck in the head, some fanatic or whatever they all have red flags going. Okay, they're going to come up, or they have other things, and that really gets rid of a lot of their issues just by saying, hey, welcome to the magic table. They're like, oh, this guy's normal, cool, okay. and then you look like the good vibe, higher conscious type, or whatever you want to say. And then they're like, oh, I like to see more. And we're monks trying to help make the world a better place. And it's the most popular one, teaches best way to meditate. It's the most important one, the original writings in yoga and meditation. A lot of people say Einstein's a big fan. Oppenheimer learned Sanskrit just to read this book. You look like a very intelligent being. You probably really deeply appreciate this. I usually try to get at least 3 flatters in throughout the whole thing. And that helps a lot. Just flattering people.
Be personal.
Yeah, and you know what's beautiful about it? Rigapati Prabhu said this also. It's helpful to flatter people because our tendency is to get always negative, critical, negative. But when you're just flattering people all the time, you don't get, the mind doesn't kick in like that. And one last thing good about it. Oh, like Shiva's always seen the good qualities in others, whatever it might be. And you can always compliment anybody. And any person can be complimented. Yeah.
Good way to try to stay blissed out too.
Yeah.
I realize because we all have flaws, so you can find flaws with anybody.
Yeah.
And that it's just it's a buzzkill internally. So
Yeah.
the more you try to just see the good, like Krishna does, the better time.
Yeah. I always say it. Last month, I kind of had a little extra Lakshmi, so I can sing at the beginning of the day to Krishna, it's going to be a super, super, super fly day. I think I'm talking about myself, I'm not going to be a fly. I'm going to be a bee. Go for the honey. So this is kind of funny. I just chuckle to myself. It's what you have to chuckle to yourself up there because nobody you talk to pretty much for 6 months out of the year. So yeah. But flattering is a wonderful thing, really. And see the good, and it helps keep the flow going. And what was your next question? It was how to relate it all. And and even if they say, yeah, I realize that I'm God, I'm like, man, that's far out, bro. You don't get, no, that's wrong. See, in Bhagavad Gita says you're serving God, you rascal. No, I don't go. I'm like, wow, man, far out. Yeah, and this book explains this and that. And I had this dream the other day. He said, I realize that I'm a purple elephant. Whatever they say, even it goes completely against it. Wow, far out, man. Quite a thinker. That's cool. Nice, thanks. It's far out. It's great. Whatever. Never getting into unless I meet some Indian pundit, that's got it wrong. They can handle chastisement, then I'll go into it heavy if need be. But otherwise, rarely does that ever happen. And fanatic Christians, once you realize that they're non-thinker, whatever's, just disengage, let them do their thing. And if you engage at all, they're just going to make a mess out of them. It's just going to cause themselves problems. And so, nothing you can do but, hey, I'm so happy you're a Christian or whatever, I had this person just the other day, well, if you want to become a devotee, then come see me. But that's great. I like that. Yes, when I want to be there, I'll go see you. Just go away now. Whatever it is. Yeah. Yeah.
Say you set up a book table, you go out all day and you distribute like just 3 Bhagavad Gitas and you've been out for like 8 hours. Do you think that should you just be detached from the result and be like, tomorrow's another day, I'm gonna just keep going at it, it doesn't matter what my numbers are, I'm just gonna go until the day I die?
What's the other option? No, what if you didn't do that, what is your other option?
Quit.
So what do you think the answer is on that one then? Yeah, okay, so yeah, I mean, I tried quitting, did a landscaping business, donated lots of, gave it Swami $1,000, he gave me his charter, that was cool. And then I gave another Swami $1,000 once a week, that would be my high, and that was good. Now, if you feel that that's more productive than your 3 Bhagavad Gitas, then, whatever's productive, you got to keep as long as you're maxing out the productively pleasing Krishna program, then you're like a pure devotee. It's all good. Krishna sees your sincerity. It's no dogma, nothing, But but for me, I mean, even just I felt like even the little bit of book distribution I was doing back then was more important than all this giving the money personally. So I went back to book distribution and then got some training. So I really recommend training.
Who'd you get trained by?
I mean, I went to LA and Vijay, Vigapati Prabhu, Prabhu. Yeah. And within a week, I was doing 5 times more than I was doing before, within a week. And then just gradually building it from there. Within 1 week. So training is so important. And it's not a big deal. It wasn't like so rigorous. No, it was no big. I was actually, every day I would go out and distribute a bit and then come back to the temple fuming in a rage. I mean, like I would call cops demons to their faces and just like ready to shout. And then I would go wash some pots and feel a little better here, I didn't have to go through all that. It was so much easier. Distribute 5 times more books and be blissed out. Just with a little bit of training, 1 week.
You get like training like once a week, or like 1 week out of the year, like every year.
Do I?
Or should we?
Or should we?
Like just to re-jolt ourselves.
Whatever works. I don't know. I personally, I'm an old dog, so I don't learn new tricks anymore. Pretty much, honestly, I just got something that really works, and it works great. Just keep doing it. It's fantastic.
Have you had a day where you felt you were super empowered by Krishna and you distributed more books than you'd ever distributed in your entire life? Have you ever had a day like that?
You want to see a video of me?
Yeah.
I got a video. I made a video out of it. It's far out. I mean, I see this video and I just go, what the heck? I mean, that's me. Oh my God. I mean, I'm nobody great. I'm nobody special at all. I mean, other people that distribute books with me, they know that I'm nobody special. Really. It's just taking some techniques and applying it. And Krishna's causeless mercy. It's really far out. Anyway, you want to see a video where I think it was 21 cases.
I'm sorry. Did you say 21 cases of Bhagavad Gita?
21 cases of books.
Oh my God. Of books.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, that was just a far out day. That's all I can say, Had a few of those days. But it's far out video. Not to brag, I'm sorry. That sounded bad. Glorified myself a little bit. But it's just Krishna's causeless mercy. And it shows in point that I'm really nobody special person. I just apply it and it works. So and others that are doing it that I've kind of trained up or whatever, they're doing similar. Yeah.
What would be the top 3 books or that would go?
You know, the Science of Self-Realization, I flashed that book on my table so that people can see it from different angles. A lot of people come to the table over just for that book. Says, this book's really calling me or whatever. I get regularly. The Bhagavad Gita, of course, the most important. And for years, I didn't distribute Krishna book. And I felt like something's kind of missing and the world's not changing enough. And I started distributing Krishna book. And man, my heart just like, yeah. Because people read that Krishna book. My God. This first book. You know, and they share it with their kids and all. Yeah, who's Krishna? You know, he's this supreme personality of God. Yeah. And then they read these stories and everything. What is this? This is wow. Rather than just straight up philosophical, you know. I mean, it's to me that's Gita's total nectar, but the Krishna book, everybody can relate with Krishna book. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Like if some people wanted to, like if they only give me so much money, or they say I just give me the top ones, and they want to narrow the stack down, I'll just give them those three. I think that's a good one. And perfection of yoga, people can relate with. If you need a smaller one to get going, yeah.
When you came to the U of A 16 years ago, out of all of the parking lots that you could have parked, I don't know who parked there first, but out of all the parking lots out of the U of A, because I went to meet my friend and he was late, and I called him and I was like, "Why are you late?" He's like, "I ran into this monk fool," and I'm like, "Really?" And like, and he met up with me and he gave me this book, and it was The Perfection of Yoga. And I go, "We gotta meet. We gotta go find this guy." So I was expecting to see like orange robes, bald head. Not like khaki pants and like an orange polo, like and you happened to be parked right next. We gave up after like half an hour, and that's when we were like, let's just go back to the car. And I'm like, "Where'd you park?" And he's like, "Over this parking lot." And then we went to the parking lot, and I remember walking past your van, and I remember looking at the van, going, "That's a nice van." and then we got in the car, and then Vishnu John Das, he like walked out of the van and like saw us there.
What?
And then my friend looked in the mirror and he goes, "Oh, there's that monk fool again."
Sounds about accurate. Okay.
It was funny, yeah. It was crazy.
Yeah, it's amazing how Krishna makes these arrangements, right? And there's so many times people come up to the table and go, you know, I don't know why I came to Mount Rushmore. But I don't like, this isn't me, but you're exactly who I'm supposed to meet today. You know, I just had this experience and da. Thank you for being here. Thanks for tolerating it. Hare Krishna. Yeah. It's amazing how many people have past life experiences too. That they have them share it. Some of them are really far out. They meet God. Some of them have met God. It's so far out what they say. Anyway.
Didn't you distribute some Bibles and you didn't have Krishna books?
Yeah.
Is that when you realized you're addicted to distributing Krishna books?
Oh, yeah, that didn't go so well though. I had one guy put a gun to my head. Another guy chased me full speed with a knife. I barely survived that. Full speed. You know, people, it was like Krishna saying, look, you distribute Krishna, Prabhupada's books.
Wow.
You distribute, oh man, just the thought of that just really gives me PTSD big time.
Did Krishna bring you
Full
out of that
speed,
pretty
full speed wanted to kill me for sure. I first started running and going, and he was so built and athletic and everything. He was doing jump rope like anything without a shirt on and just like crazy. And I'm like, this guy needs to just chill out a little bit, you know, maybe help him. And I'm like, no, I got the Bible, so I'm reading the Bible, you know, when they kicked me out of the temple, San Diego temple, whatever. So I'm like on the streets alone and just got the Bible. I'm like, I'm talking about Jesus. He says, don't talk to me. And I kept going on the tents. And I said, don't talk to me. And then I'm like, I backed up a little bit and he threw down this thing, flipped out a knife, and started coming at me. I swear, if I hadn't done all that athletic stuff as a kid, I'd be dead. I barely outran him. Ran him hundreds of yards. Like 100 yards minimum. and it's that far from my back. Well, that far from my back.
Krishna help you bounce back from that pretty quick, or did it take a little time? I was wondering how you. I was maybe going to ask. How you deal with like negativity.
Oh, that, yeah. Well, I didn't have Prabhupada's books. I didn't even have my beads then. It was a crazy time. I was just trying to survive at that point. After that point, I just said, I gotta survive. So I went back to school and get my master's. As soon as I did it, and then eventually re-entered ISKCON life. Somewhere along the way.
Seems like so many book distributors have that in common, like how I never remember his name, the Switzerland devotee.
Oh, Vina.
Yeah, like how I went to go play hockey after like so long.
Oh yeah.
And then he broke his ankle, or
Oh.
Krishna broke his
I didn't
ankle.
know
and
that.
back.
It's far out. Yeah.
Prabhu, would you like me to stop the recording
Yeah.
so you can eat?
No, I'm cool. I usually don't eat this late. I could save it though for tomorrow.
Somebody cover it for you?
No, it's good. Don't worry about it. Thank you. Very kind. Thanks for tolerating me. It's so nice to be here again. And if anybody can, anybody who wants to distribute books, they can get books.
Yeah, they make it very easy to do that here.
Okay, good. That's important. If needed, a little bit of training if you wanted. I could provide what I know. Not that I'm great. I'm really not great. Really not. I'm really not. That's the funny thing about it. Is because, I'm not like Navina Nirada Prabhu or Mahotsa Prabhu. I mean, those people are amazing personalities. And I'm just a simple whatever. What? I'm totally whatever. And anybody I show do this the way I do it, they just do big too. So it's not me. That's the nice thing about this. Anybody can do this. My first day here, when I knew that Krishna wanted me to distribute a book, I was so shy, I ran away from the temple. And a couple of days later, Jai Gauranga, Mother Swami told Jai Gauranga Prabhu to go find me. He found me on some curb and drew me back here. And I was, just I ran away.
I think your higher self couldn't handle the like excitement that was about to come.
I gotta get
I mean, I would like, yeah. So, I think like if I can do it, anybody can do it. Really. I mean, a gorilla can do what I do.
Yeah.
Really. You can go out there.
I feel like showing up is like half the battle, sort of.
Maybe we'll make robots. If humans don't want to distribute books, maybe there's all this robotic stuff will come along. A little robot comes. Hi, you heard of Krishna? Hare Krishna, take a book. I mean, really, we could have all these. You've seen those things that carry the lunches? Just have one of those. It has the books displayed. Oh, that's cool.
There's a book.
Oh, that's a great idea.
I'm
Wow.
totally gonna do that now.
Wow.
They have tons of robots at the U of A.
No, seriously, that might
See, like a
work.
suction cup and a sticky side.
That's a great. I'm gonna do that.
Those things could, you can arrange it so that they identify a human, and it just goes up to a human. Kind of, Hi, I like to show you something really cool here. You
It
got.
has its little screen.
I like your cool hairstyle.
So if we try to distribute a book, we should think even a robot can do it, like
Even
Yeah.
a robot can do it.
You can't get humans to do it. I swear, those things that you make them like by the thousands. It probably only costs like 3,000 each.
It would pay for itself after a couple.
It would. You got it.
That's why sometimes I like encouraging my kids, like when we've gone on Harinam, because they're so excited by everything and they're little, I'm like, yeah, go for it. And they'll go like, just walk up to people and just try and give them a cookie, give them a book. But what I love is that they're little, so they don't really know, they're not like scared. They just go up and they just put it in people's faces and like, take this. And people are like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's.
Like taking the fear out of them, so in the future they're like, I don't think so, just since I was little, it's no problem.
And they can do what we can't, right? Nobody's gonna like, get away from me, kid. I don't want this knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, they're having people, nobody
Maybe a
ever
few.
says no, but most of them just kind of walk away and then they're kind of like, whatever, and then they go to somebody else like, take this.
Oh, okay.
Do you have anything you recommend, like, if because you know sometimes like I know ultimately this doesn't matter, but it's like you know it's a lot of it's pretty sophisticated, like exotic, you know, knowledge and words and stuff. You know, sometimes I'm like, well, it's kind of intense. Do you ever like recommend like, hey, like, I guess you could say if there's a temple, you could go see that, or there's a video you could check out if you want help with something more than just a book. I don't know.
Yeah, anybody gets a book, I show them the Hare Krishna mantra and get them to chant it, you know, somewhat, so they know the most effective way to meditate is. And then I'll ask them, where are you from? And they say, I'm from Tucson. Every now and then I get that Mount Rushmore. And say, oh, you have to know. You ever been to Govinda's? What? And you just, yeah, I take time out like that with everybody that I can. It's not too busy. And yeah, and that's the way I do it at least. Videos and all that is an interesting option.
Sometimes I feel like books should come with a devotee, you know, like or like to explain, you know,
Oh,
Like, what should come with the devotee?
just to like help like go through the book with them, you know.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Books should come with the devotee. That's Krishna, right?
Like that just pops up. Like,
what I do also is when I have like people that give classes regularly, and I'll take their email if they're interested with that, and then you can be hooked up with the classes. But you know, just to answer something, not to discourage anybody, but just to say my experiences, is I put a lot of effort out in this regard, and honestly, I mean, I've given maybe 5,000 business cards that say, and if you have any questions or anything, or if you want free food and free rent and want to study with a spiritual master or anything, please let me know. And out of those 5,000 business cards, I've gotten 2. One of them email was, what, these guys that are like purple and doing like this, are they from Mars or they? That was one, and the other one was, well, what do I got to do to get this free food and free rent? And I told them what to do, and they never emailed me back. So you got to go to the morning program. It's like this, and then you do like that. And they never emailed me back. So that's all I got. And from like, gosh, when I meet that super interested one, say, well, you ever thought about living the spiritual master, free food, free rent? Like, wow, yeah. Then I take their email and everything and, reach out to them and share all this information. Actually, some of that's worked, but in general, my experience is cultivation, at least from my end, is some of it has worked, actually. A certain method that I've used has worked really good. But other than just like, here's the lectures or whatever my friend does, and, feel free to participate with that, regular classes, free online classes, hardly anything. And all those business cards is kind of useless, actually, and so many other things. The one thing that has worked is when I really did a lot of research as to how to cultivate people. And I studied it for a while and then applied it. That worked really good, surprisingly awesome. It's basically finding those super interested ones, getting their emails or whatever texts, and then use a methodology of cultivation. And that has worked really phenomenally. Other than that, I haven't had much success to the point where it's not worth it for me to. I'd rather just, here comes another guy with some lots of books, Seems like the best use of energy for me in my situation, which might be completely different if I'm in one place like here, and where you can cultivate people better. So, but yeah, giving people other options. But of course, just giving an invitation to the temple here is most practical. And when you meet that really sincere one, take their info and try to reel them in. And if you want a methodology that I did research on, it works. I can share that if you want. It works really good. Got people that join full time. Yeah.
So you guys have been talking very, been doing a lot, you know, with all the books and everything. I live in a neighborhood, and just walking down the street in the morning, just taking a walk, and there's hardly anybody out, but occasionally one person will come by. And if I would just say, instead of saying good morning, if I would just say Hare Krishna, you never know what that would, I've done that before in the past, and they're like, what? You know, and then we get something going, but I'm so blocked, even just do that, just to say Hare Krishna instead of good morning.
Mm.
I sneak it in sometimes,
You sneak
good
it?
morning, Hare Krishna, you know.
Or like on your way out.
They go, thank you, how are you?
Yeah.
But I think in the car with you, Prabhu, you roll down the window and just yell, "Hey!"
Oh, yes, he does. That's what homeless people have done.
Or just, hi, Hare Krishna, you know.
Well,
But sometimes, you know, we'll just pass it, you won't even look at it or say anything. But at least they would hear the words. You know?
right. I'll just try to, best, gradually work up to it, that type of thing. Okay, I got my timer. Tell them Hare Krishna. Ding, ding, ding. Tell them Hare Krishna. 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 Oh, sorry. Whatever, and then kind of eventually get to maybe, really no big deal. It's because the senses, the nerves. I remember when I was a child, I heard I would chant the name Christ, and then I heard George Harrison. I would do it very quietly, because nobody would know what I'm doing, because I was afraid that if people would find out what I'm doing, they would kill me. Now, where does that come from? That comes from, whatever you call that, post-traumatic stress syndrome from previous lifetimes. It's carried through the DNA. Really, I mean, I probably was in some country where I did get killed or saw other people get killed by doing this. And then I heard George Harrison chanting Hare Krishna once when I was like 7 years old. And I went, oh my God, he's doing it too. I recognized it was similar, same thing. So I was thinking that literally people hunt me down and kill me by doing that. So you could have previous lifetimes of experience like that. So don't be too hard on yourself, and just kind of recognize where it comes from. Gradually build the nervous system to where you can do it regularly.
What I've been trying to do, I mean, you guys are all personalists and good at being personalists, but I've been thinking more about how Krishna consciousness, a lot of it is just trying to be personal, So I've been like trying to think, like if I meet someone, for instance, so easy to forget a name, but I've been trying to like actually remember their name and like call them their name and just be personal, and that's thinking of that also. If there's nothing else there as Krishna consciousness too, but if you can share, but you're good at that. I've been thinking about Krishna consciousness like that too.
The Mormons, Christians, they're very good at that. In their proselytization, Mormons and Christians, they're super good at all that. They'll mow your lawn and everything else. They'll do it. You'll go way out of their way to be personal, to be friendly, and that gets on you. You go, these guys are cool, right? Open some doors. Of course, we don't want to like overdo it, because it's all material activity, mowing somebody's lawn, But some of that seems appropriate. Yeah. Like treat your neighbor as you wish to be treated. That golden rule. That if we have that in our heart, things start to flow nicely. Sorry.
So in the Shikshashtakam, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying that we want to have devotional service birth after birth after birth. But in many places in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying that, you want to prepare yourself for entering into the kingdom of God. And Prabhupada mentions many times that we want to return back home to Godhead. And there's many mentions that, Kali Yuga is going to get worse. So like, why, take the risk of coming back here, even if it's for devotional service. But in the prayers, we pray to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we literally say that we wish for devotional service birth after birth after birth. So which is it? Do we want to go back home to Godhead, or is the primary focus just on making sure that we surrender first. And that's like the primary importance is surrendering. And like ignoring like success or failure or going up or going down. We just focus on devotional service.
I remember distributing books at the LA airport and worrying about, am I going to make it to the kingdom of God? Oh no, and this and that. And I remember being a little bit in my head with that. It was plaguing me for months and years, whatever. And then I noticed, as I approached somebody, I finished the thing, and then I have this in the back of my head, I don't know. And then I missed somebody. Like, oh God, I missed that guy. I was thinking about trying to go back home to God. I missed that guy. Oh no, sorry, Krishna. And then that kept on happening. And finally, like, forget this. I'm already doing devotional service and doing the best I can. Forget this concept of trying to go back home to Godhead. Let me just do my service. Service to God is none different from the kingdom of God. Let me just do my service. And it was such a liberation to get there. Such a liberation to just say, I'm just going to sincerely try to please you, Krishna. Whether you want me back or not, that's up to you. What can I do about it? I'm going to do what it takes. I'm just going to focus on my service. That's it. And that I remember just being liberated from this concept. But before you get, I don't want to say get to there. I mean, maybe way past all that. I don't know. But having that desire to go back to the kingdom of God when we first start is very important. But at some point, you just like, this is getting in the way of my devotions.
But isn't there also devotional service in the spiritual world?
That's all you're going to be doing there. Anyway, it's not going to be anything different. It's going to be the same thing.
Devotional service here or there?
And Prabhupada does say the kingdom of God is none different from devotional service. So that's it. You haven't realized fully that devotional service is the same as the kingdom of God. But as you continue, you will realize that.
We're going to see you in the spiritual world. He's like, welcome to my magical table.
Still distributing.
Krishna comes up to the table. Wow, you got a beautiful peacock feather there. Welcome to the magic table.
Sorry, I got service to do, Krishna.
Hey, somebody else is coming up here. So, she could get something.
You're trying to distribute a book to his soul and spiritual world, and they're like, look, guy, I'm a pure devotee, okay? I know Krishna.
Yeah. Well, like Kapila Muni, his son was Krishna. Kapila was his father's name. Kardama Muni, sorry. Kardama Muni's son was Kapila Muni, who was not different from who was Krishna. So here's a devotee who has a son that's God, and he asks, basically, he then takes sannyas and leaves. So, like, this is just a whole nother dimension. So, ultimately, we want to get to that whole nother dimension. But don't do it artificially. Like, if you have in your heart, I want to go back to the kingdom of God, fine. That's perfect and beautiful. But Lord Chaitanya is giving us the most important, the best way to pray. So we want to work to that. Yeah.
Say, I really.
Just let me bring this up. So I asked Benavir Maharaj, is it better for me to, just stick around forever until everybody's liberated?